Hello, today I will be showing you the PowerPoint for scenery. The audience view. The design of a production gives the audience a better understanding of the play that is not conveyed through dialogue or narration. The way the costumes look can give us a better understanding of the time period, the roles of the characters, and a sense of realism or fantasy. The lighting can show us who is the spotlight character or scene or the time of the day in the setting. The designer's goal is to convey these unwritten portents to the audience through the design of the production. Scene designer. The scene designer is the one responsible for making a scene justifiable to the time period, world life, and whether or not the play is realistic or fantasy. The scene designer is also responsible for the transition of scenes when one scene is held in a different location or time than the other. Things such as colors, shapes, props, and other aesthetics are all carefully calculated. Even the most minute thing, like which way doors open, close on scene, is taken into consideration. A brief history of stage design. Before the concept of scene designers, the various stage represented the background for the play. In ancient Greece, the stage was usually interpreted as a palace of some sort, and most of the stories took place there. During the medieval times, mansions were set up in a town square to represent small backgrounds, for example, Noah's Ark, a whale, or Massinger. Elizabethan and Spanish theaters used a bare background as well, but they had minor furniture pieces, such as thrones at the time. They relied mostly on the language to set the overall setting. The Babiana family was one of the first to begin making more elaborate stage designs, alongside the introduction of the proscenium theaters. Since then, we had leaps and bounds in terms of technology, and due to that, we now see some of the most elaborate throughout stage design. Scenic design today. We are accustomed to stage settings in everyday life, but as with other elements in theater. For example, the stage designer must deal with scale, in turn corresponds to the scale of settings we experience in the world outside of theater. Scene designing is not what most people imagine it is, a branch of interior decorating. A stage set signals an atmosphere to us in the same way as a room in real life, but the scene design must go a step further. The scene designer's objective. In preparing scenery for a stage production, a scene designer has the following objectives. 1. Help set the tone and style of the production. 2. Establish the local and period in which the play takes place. 3. Develop a stage design concept consistent with the director's concept. 4. Provide a central image or metaphor where appropriate. 5. Ensure the scenery is coordinated with other production elements. Last and finally, solve practical design problems. The elements of scene design. 1 is the line. It means the outline or silhouette of elements on stage. For example, predominantly curved lines versus sharply angular lines. The mass is the overall bulk of weight of scene elements. For example, a series of high, heavy platforms or fortress walls versus a bare stage or a stage with only a single tree on it. Composition is the balance and arrangement of elements. The way elements are arranged, for example, mostly to one side of the stage in a vertical or horizontal configuration or equally distributed on stage. Texture is the feel projected by surfaces and fabrics. For example, the slickness of chrome or glass versus the roughness or brick or burlap. Last one is the color, the shading and contrast of color combinations. The technological innovations of the global designing Joseph Sivaboba. Dipolaricarity, which is believed that the set should not function independently of small square screens making up a composite image. The actors, but rather should develop and adapt. Scenography is what he was imagining, curved set images or collage. Call his art, conveying the sense that he created a Lathronia Magatia. New design materials, video and projection design. The design process itself had changed due to the development of three-dimensional animation software, which the set design can be manipulated and presented. The development of projections allowed for live actors to interact and create a magical effect, by example, walking through the projectors to create illusionary effects. Projection mapping allows projections to be designed and viewed on a computer and then projected on various three-dimensional objects of varying sizes on stage. The process of scene design. The designer reads the script and develops ideas about scene design and design the concept. These ideas may vary considerably depending on the director. They may be vague, or there may be an exact picture of what the scenery should look like. The design develops primarily sketches, called thumbnail sketches, and rough plans to provide a basis for further discussions about the scenic elements. Sometimes the designer will bring the director sketches showing several possible ideas, each emphasizing different elements. The scene designer's collaboration in the production process. All production ground plans, also known as floor plans, which are detailed layout of each scenic location drafted within the context of a specific theater space. The drafting of designer/front elevations is completed either by the scene designer or by various design assistants. The floor plans are delivered to the stage manager, who will tape on the floor of the rehearsal space an accurate full-scale version of all platforms, ramps, staircases, and entrances and exits, to be used by the director and the actors in rehearsal. The flexibility of CAD allows designers to make changes very quickly and to share designs electronically with all collaborations. The technical director then completes construction drawings for all these floor plan elements. The technical director also converts the complete set of designer/front elevations into a complete set of rear elevations. Designing a total environment. A designer may go above and beyond scenery and special effects to design an entire theater space. The relationship between the stage and audience is important, so the designer may build an entire theater in a gymnasium or warehouse, including seats and acting areas. The size and shape of the space, along with the texture and nature of the building materials, the atmosphere of the space, and the needs of all the play are all important factors in the design of the total environment of the play. Examples of this would be Natasha, Pierre, and the Great Comet of 1812, and Oklahoma. As you can see from the pictures, the overall design of the total environment is a crucial and key element into a play. Evaluate scene design. To evaluate scene design, we must ask a series of questions to determine the scene designer's success in supporting the play presented. We should evaluate aspects such as the overall atmosphere of the setting, the colors, information conveyed by scenery, and if the play is real or fictional, and if settings matches the vibe of the play or the actual event. We also should ask if the play has symbolic elements, effective scene changes, video use that was appropriate for the play, and there were special effects. All of those questions can help further evaluate scene design and its effectiveness.